Afternoon, all.
Afternoon, Ian. Afternoon, Roy. Look, I know Moldova and that you've got big injuries of your own, but Gareth Bale ruled out for Wales in the last couple of hours.
Right.
There's no disguising that's good news for us.
Yeah, but he's obviously an important player for him. But we're missing Seamus Coleman, John Walters. They're as important to us as Bale is to Wales. So that's life.
Did you know about that until I just mentioned it, Bale out?
No, we were training.
But does it make any difference? Will it give, not necessarily you, but the players a lift?
Well, I've not really discussed it with him. As I said, it's part of the game. We're missing Seamus Coleman, and he's as big a loss to us as Bale is to Wales. And we've got another game on Friday night. So if you kind of want to discuss the Wales game, you're talking to the wrong guy. Friday night, we've got an important international match on Friday night, and we've had our own injury problems, and it's part of the game. It's how you deal with it. We lost Hendricks recently. I said John Walters has been brilliant for us. He's now missing. It's part of the game.
How are the group then?
So, no, fine. Oh, look, obviously we've got a couple of new lads involved, all pretty upbeat, all looking forward to the game. Obviously, if a lot of the lads didn't train the last number of days, the lads who played on Sunday. So that's good. All pretty upbeat, and as you'd expect.
In particular, how's James McCarthy, and how careful do you need to be with that, given what's happened in the past? His club manager telling him, don't take risks.
Yeah. No, James joined in today. He'd probably done, I would say, 70% of what the other players done. Just spoke to him there. He seemed to be okay. Obviously, he's an experienced player. We'd wanted to overdo it, but at some stage you've got to join in and train and get involved in obviously possession and games, and obviously the bigger picture is trying to play some sort of 11v11 if you can. But last 1 or 2 days he's been fine, and as you said, there's always obviously you've got to be careful with how much work you do. But having said that, you've got to go out and train. It's, professional football, you have to train and take some sort of risk as to pushing your body.
Just going on your reaction there, is there a case of being maybe particularly careful because it's Everton, because of what's gone on before?
Well, James seems to be getting a lot of injuries at Everton, so I don't think we have anything to worry about in terms of how much we push James. And to be fair, the medical staff are kind of overseeing all of it, and they're in contact with Everton, and I think with all their scientists, I think there's more scientists involved now than that needs to be. But yeah, to kind of answer your question, James has done a little bit with us yesterday, a little bit today. He'll probably do a little bit tomorrow, probably a little bit on Thursday, maybe a little bit on Friday, probably a little bit on Saturday, maybe a little bit next Sunday, and maybe a little bit next Monday. Then he can go back to Everton, and we see how their scientists deal with it, because he seems to be picking up a number of injuries at Everton. So I said it the last time, I always think clubs, as much as they look at what we're doing, they certainly have to have a look at what they're doing themselves. But James seems pretty upbeat, and we're glad to have him here.
Could I ask your reaction to Kevin Doyle retiring after a fine career? I know you've spoken in the past about him being a good pro, good lad. Yeah.
Well, listen, Kevin, I was surprised when I read about it. Obviously, he's been involved in some of the provisional squads the last few months. And it's sad, but we feel he's made the right decision, no doubt. He's had an excellent career, and my dealings with Kevin, seems a really decent guy, and always done well for Ireland. So sad to see him retire, but he's 34. He probably feels he's had a decent innings, and hopefully he's picked the right time to retire, because as everyone else has been saying, is your health is your wealth, as they say.
What do you make of the circumstances?
I don't really know. The only thing I've seen from Kevin, obviously, this statement that he's had 1 or 2 forms of concussion. We mentioned the word risks earlier. Every time you walk out on a football pitch, there's an element of risk involved, and if he's had some sort of concussion over the last number of years and he feels he's suffering from it, then obviously he feels it's what's right for him. But it is part of the game, Players picking up injuries and getting knocks. Obviously, he's a centre forward. He's going to be having a lot of challenges with centre halves, as you'd expect. I'm sure he's knocked a few centre halves over himself, and he's had a few knocks, and that's part of the game. there's risk involved in everything, particularly in sport. It is a physical game, but hopefully Kevin's picked the right time to say enough's enough for him. And we wish him well, of course.
Do you think it is part of the game, or does more need to be done, particularly with brain injuries, to protect footballers? More done to research it, at least?
Yeah, I suppose there is. Yeah, and I'm sure that's pretty, that's ongoing. The research into players who were suffering concussion. But, if you're worried about the physical side of any sport and you're wary of it, then play chess. It's part of the game. It's, what it be, hurling, football, American football. You see the rugby lads. It's part of the game. It's, when you cross that line, there is an element of risk involved, and I don't think it would put. I think the players who are playing now regularly wouldn't make a difference to them. I think they all want to be footballers, and when they cross that line, there's an element you might get a knock. But I'm pretty sure there is a lot of research going into it, and everyone looks at everybody else and who's going to sort it out, and people question the PFA, this and that. You know yourself, when you cross that line, like I've said, there's a chance you might get hurt, and they're the risks you take. Part of the game.
What are the risks involved then for Friday's game, in considering James McCarthy, who hasn't had any game time this season, or the other players who come into the squad carrying an injury, Harry Arter, David McGoldrick?
Well, you said carrying injuries, but I'll be honest, I'm kind of sick of talking about players carrying injuries. That's part of the game. You're going to be carrying some sort of knock. Everybody gets a dead leg or a tight hamstring or sore calf. The risk will be, obviously we'll discuss it with the medical staff, and it would be concern for James, obviously, if to throw him straight into a game on Friday night. I think the way the manager's looking at it, let's see how the next 1 or 2 days goes, and I'm sure he'll give you an update tomorrow and Thursday, and we'll see the game on Friday. But there is lads, you would say, ahead of James in the fact that they've been playing regularly, whether it be the Whelans or Hurricanes, the Milers, all these boys. So the manager, no doubt, will weigh all that up over the next few days. And Harry's done most of the training today, but you'd expect him to do, hopefully, all of it tomorrow. So this idea that lads are carrying knocks, it's part of the game. If you don't play, if you need to be 100% fit all the time, then you'd hardly never play. Having knocks and strains and tightness is part of being a footballer. So you have to get your head around all that.
How important is it to get the mood right this week? I mean, you're the last 2 games of the group. There's a prize at stake, of course, of the possibility of a playoff. There's a lot of tension in these games, but you don't want that tension to become fear either, do you?
Yeah, no, I'd say it will be a different approach, because we know, obviously, we're seeing the finishing line ahead. And we know we have to win the 2 games, different mindset. There's a couple of new lads involved. That brings a different form of type of energy to the group. You're on about tension, but you need tension to it. That tension's part of the game. You a bit of nervousness, that's the adrenaline going in your body. Obviously, it's not going so much on the Tuesday, but we hope so on Friday. But that's part of being a footballer and preparing for games, and we're all looking forward to it. Disappointed, of course, with the last couple of results. Probably felt the players certainly deserved something against Serbia for their efforts, but listen, it didn't happen, and we now focus on the next match. That's pretty important, just getting our heads around that. As I said, today's Tuesday. I think we've got about 30 odd players, so there's a lot of players available fighting for a place. And we look forward to the next few days, try and get the training right, try not to obviously overdo it or undercook them, and be ready for Friday. And we will be ready for Friday, because whatever we say about the players, they've always had a go for us, and they've never let us down on that side of it. What we need, obviously, is players to show that bit of quality and composure at the right times in the game.
You've said in the past, though, that we're not good enough to be complacent or arrogant against anyone, and yet for the team that's bottom of the table, shouldn't we have something of a swagger about us playing at home? Expect to go and win this game?
No, my point is we can't be underestimating anybody, and I've said that before, and we certainly won't be underestimating Moldova. You look at some of their games where they have pushed teams, and I'm pretty sure they'll push us. But on the other side of it, we're at home. We know we have to win the game. Listen, the last game, I think we do try and always be on the front foot. Easier said than done. But we'll be confident. I think if we perform as well as we can, we have a chance of winning the game. But we know if we take our eye off the ball, or we think for some reason we can turn up and just, as I said, just turn up and win an international game, it's not going to happen. But I don't think there's any chance of that creeping into the camp, because, as I said, we know we're not good enough just to turn up and think we can get loads of possession and win the game. We have to be at it, and hopefully the players put in the same sort of effort against Serbia. We'll be okay.
Have you thought about the fact that we've conceded, the fact that we've scored and then conceded, and that's become a bit of a trait? Is there a way? I mean, obviously, you'd like to score in the last minute and it'd be the winner.
Well, we'd like to score more goals. It'd be great at some stage if we were comfortable in any game. But we've always said this group is going to be tight. It's proved in most of the games that it's a tough old group we've got. But yeah, we'd like to score more, of course. Yeah, I think that's been a bit of a problem. So we do encourage the players to get into attacking positions, to pull the trigger when they get a chance, the usual stuff. But it's up to the players to go out and then do the business.
And can I ask you about the new players? And they're all strikers, the uncapped players. Scott Hogan told us yesterday that he was a bit more than a bit overawed to meet you at the plane.
Well, he didn't show it. He was pretty cool. No, I bumped into him, a few of the lads on the flight, as you'd expect from Manchester, and nice to have him involved. Obviously, the manager spoke to him a number of times over the last 1 or 2 years. First time I've met him, obviously seen him playing, and we're delighted to have him involved, and obviously Aidan and Sean as well. It's good to have a couple of new players in this group. As I said, it brings a kind of new form of energy, particularly their attacking players, and they've done well in the last 1 or 2 days training, and it's good to have them on board, and hopefully they'll be involved for Ireland for years to come.
But this week in particular, with Kevin Doyle out, John Walters out, Shane Long perhaps on a doubtful list, is there a chance for one of those boys to step up?
Well, we hope so, yeah. We hope if they get that opportunity. Obviously, there's other options. It might be harsh to throw them straight into an international match, but we'll see how they go over the next few days training. But yeah, I'd expect 1 or 2 of them to be involved on Friday. Yeah, certainly getting on the pitch at some stage.
Roy, you mentioned there that the younger players or the newer players kind of bring an energy, bring something different. Can you give a bit more of an insight into that? What did they bring on the training pitch? Is it also maybe around the camp as well? And did it need that kind of freshening up, given that there was a lot of disappointment maybe from the previous 2 games?
I wouldn't say we needed it, but it's just, I suppose, their club form has pushed them in. And obviously Scott was a slightly different scenario. Obviously the manager's been speaking to Scott for the last 1 or 2 years, and he'd a lot to weigh up, I suppose. When I say energy, I suppose enthusiasm to training. It's just new faces on the training ground. It's like when you sign a new player, create something new around the camp. And obviously we want to see the lads show that quality that they've shown at their clubs over the last year or two, whatever level they're playing at, to the group. And they've done that in the last, I suppose, 48 hours. But it's still a big ask to throw them in on the game on Friday night, but it's good to have them on board, particularly their attacking players, and different personalities in the dressing room. It's good. It's just a nice feeling to have new lads around.
Against Serbia, there was a lot of possession for Ireland, but the final ball maybe at times wasn't quite there. Do you think that sometimes players with their clubs maybe play with a bit more freedom than they do for Ireland, because obviously the nation is watching, there's less games, mistakes kind of are not forgotten as much as they might be for a club, because they'll go back and play the next week? And is that something that maybe has held us back a little bit maybe in this group at times?
No.
When you look at that goal, for example, that was made in Ireland essentially for Burnley over the week, I mean, do you think that's something those guys would have done in the Irish jersey?
I thought it was really poor defending from Everton. It was. If you watch it over again, it's just really poor defending from Everton. I'd like to think if we conceded a goal like that, we'd be disappointed. As much as delighted the Irish lads are all doing well, and Burnley having a very good season. I know if I was the Everton manager and I saw my players defending like that, I wouldn't be happy. So I'd be more worried about that than thinking it was some brilliant play from Burnley. Just a couple of passes, a couple of square passes, a pull back, midfielder, not going with their runners. I think that was more the other way around than brilliant play.
You mentioned earlier on that you want to encourage lads sometimes maybe to pull the trigger out there. Is that something you had to do? Is that something that you're working on?
No, I think we always do it, to be honest with you. We obviously always encourage the players, don't be afraid to miss. No, it's just getting that balance right, because one or two lads took maybe shots against Serbia where we're thinking maybe that needed that bit of composure or extra touch. But no, we're always encouraging, of course, the players to shoot on sight, 20, 25 yards out. It would be nice if one of our lads, lashed one in from there. We see other countries doing it. Sometimes you gotta. It'd be nice to score a spectacular goal that might get us a vital result. So this idea over the last few days, we suddenly started telling the players to shoot more. No, I'm sure the players get annoyed with me in particular because I'm always telling them to shoot, and particularly if you are going to shoot, obviously hit the target, which helps.
Okay, last question.
Roy, just going back to Scott Hogan there yesterday, I mean, he grew up as a Man United fan, you were his favourite player. Is that strange for you when a player come in who's idolised you for all these years, and does he have to get over that quickly?
No, he will do. I think obviously he's just a bit of, he was just saying what he was saying. Listen, that will soon change. I know a week working with me, he'll soon change his tune. He'll be thinking, I wish I'd never met him. That's what most people say after a week. But no, it's nice to have him involved. And again, the fact he's a United fan is irrelevant. He's now an Irish player. We're glad to have him on board. He's a really good player. We've watched him over the last few years. He's having a difficult spell at the moment with Villa, but he's a goal scorer. He's a poacher, and we're glad to have him involved. Seems a nice enough kid. Obviously, the fact he's a United fan wouldn't make any difference to my mindset when I'm working with the players. Obviously our job is there to help them, encourage them, tell them when they're doing some good stuff, tell them when they're not doing stuff so good. So I don't think there's any need to make a story out of the fact that he's a United fan and that he might have thought I was a decent player.
Does it make you feel old when you're working with?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
Okay, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Just one on the Premier League, not on United necessarily, but what you've made of the 7 games so far. Does it look to you like it'll be the title in Manchester, one of the two?
Yeah, there's a fair chance one of the teams in Manchester will win it.
Thank you.